Hello, Morongo Basin, and listeners around the world online at Z107.7 FM.com. Here is the Z107.7 Local News for Thursday, November 13th, 2025. New details have been released about a second woman in a wheelchair killed in a Yucca Valley hit and run on Airway Avenue, completely distinct from a different fatal collision involving a woman in a wheelchair on Yucca Trail on the same day. The Sheriff's Department released information about the fatal hit-and-run collision on November 6th. They said that at around 1:55 p.m., a 55-year-old woman was crossing Airway Avenue in an electric wheelchair near Primrose Drive in Yucca Valley. Deputies say an unidentified vehicle traveling southbound collided with a woman and that she and a dog were ejected from the wheelchair. The Sheriff's Department said that the driver of the vehicle fled the scene. The woman was transported to Desert Regional Medical Center where she succumbed to her injuries. Her identity has not yet been released. Anyone with information related to this investigation is asked to contact the Sheriff's Morongo Basin Station at 760-366-4175. That investigation is considered unrelated to a different fatal vehicle versus wheelchair incident that occurred on the same day. At 6:30 p.m. on November 6th, a vehicle collided with an 81-year-old woman crossing Yucca Trail near Frontera Avenue in Yucca Valley. One driver swerved to avoid the woman, but the following driver in a Ford Escape collided with the woman, killing her at the scene. The driver of the Ford stayed on scene and no arrests were made related to that collision. The name of that 81-year-old victim was released by the Sheriff's Coroner Office this week. She has been identified as Charlotte Kreider, a resident of Yucca Valley. As one of the victims remains in a hospital for treatment, the suspect in a Morongo Valley stabbing was arraigned on 6 felony counts this week, including murder and attempted murder. San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies responded to the Roadrunner Mobile Home Park in Morongo Valley at 3:15 a.m. on November 5th. They found 2 victims who had been stabbed. Ross Mercer, a 58-year-old resident of the mobile home park, was pronounced dead at the scene. A 59-year-old woman was taken to a hospital for treatment. San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies arrested the suspect, Rocky Duarte, 41, in his own home at the mobile home park. On Monday, Duarte was arraigned in San Bernardino County Superior Court on 6 felony charges, including murder, attempted murder, burglary, arson, being a felon in possession of a firearm, and being a felon in possession of ammunition. He is facing additional enhancements for prior violent felonies. In 2015, Duarte was convicted of domestic violence and selling weapons. Duarte pled not guilty to all charges and denied all enhancements. Duarte is being held at the West Valley Detention Center without bail. He is due back in court for a preliminary hearing on November 20th. Last night, the 29 Palms City Council took up several orders of business in their midweek meeting. Reporter Heather Clisby was there.
The 29 Palms City Council faced a packed agenda last night. Council considered relocating the 29 Palms Visitor Center from 73484 29 Palms Highway across the street closer to the Joshua Tree National Park Visitor Center at Freedom Plaza. The city's visitor center averages 100 visitors weekly, while the Parks Center averages 3,000, so the hope was to allow for more exposure. However, after hearing pleas from residents and city staff on the matter, council opted to explore expanding center staffing instead. There was an update on the city's efforts to create affordable housing. Council wrestled with the disappointing reality that Milestone, the developer they had hired to create affordable housing on the 3 acres west of City Hall, had run out of money. Per the California Surplus Land Act, a law requiring local agencies to prioritize the use of their surplus land for affordable housing, parks, and schools, the city will likely create a request for proposal to other developers, but the matter is tabled for the time being. On the same item, Council discussed adjustment programs that help seniors and disabled homeowners stay in their homes longer by installing wheelchair ramps, walk-in showers, door levers instead of knobs, and lifting recliners. Executive Director Robin Schlosser of Reach Out Morongo Basin informed Council that the organization had helped 350 homeowners basin-wide in the last 4 years. Schlosser said the program is much needed with a steady waiting list. Council signaled it would explore funding for this. In his city manager update, Stone James urged residents to prepare for the weekend rainstorm, noting that sandbags are available for pickup from City Hall and local fire stations. The next meeting of the 29 Palms City Council will be on Tuesday, December 9th. Reporting for Z107.7, I'm Heather Clisby.
The town of Yucca Valley issued a storm advisory for Thursday through Sunday. They said they are preparing for inclement weather moving through Southern California later this week that is expected to include heavy rainfall and high winds. They advised residents to take precautions and avoid unnecessary travel, especially through low-lying washes due to the chance of flash flooding. The town's public works crews are preparing to respond to emergencies, but all local motorists should be alert to the adverse conditions and avoid areas where excessive water could impede the safe flow of traffic. Sandbags are available at local fire stations and the town of Yucca Valley's Public Works office. The town of Yucca Valley's animal shelter has found their next animal care and control manager. Online news editor Robert Hayden takes it from here.
Miss Cheyenne May has been chosen to oversee the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter's animal control operations. If you've been to some of the town council and animal shelter meetings, the name may be familiar. May is the current operations director at Palm Springs Animal Shelter, and she's participated in public comments during both of those meetings, offering ideas and solutions to some of the issues brought up this year. According to a press release from the town of Yucca Valley, Miss May has over 13 years of experience across areas of animal welfare, including expertise in shelter operations, public relations, and that's right, volunteer administration. A volunteer program has been one of the most requested changes to the shelter this year, and town staff and council members have said they wanted to wait for the next shelter manager to be hired before implementing one. Miss May has served in senior level roles with local agencies like the Friends of the Palm Springs Animal Shelter and Found Animals Registry, among other providers. She holds a degree in public relations from California State University, Long Beach. Though she currently works down the hill, the press release says that she has been a resident of Yucca Valley for the last 5 years and looks forward to supporting her home. May says she looks forward to collaborating with the shelter's partners to create meaningful and lasting improvements for both people and animals at the shelter. Upon completion of the town's standard onboarding process, Miss May is anticipated to join the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter mid-December. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.
In 1996, California voters approved Proposition 218, which is still in effect and prevents unauthorized water rate hikes. Annalise Kuiper has a look at the process in which water rates can be increased.
Proposition 218 requires that water agencies follow strict procedures in order to raise rates or fees. It also requires property owners to be notified and public hearings to be held so that a raise in rates or fees may be protested. Water agencies are not required to seek California voter approval, but are still subject to the notice, public hearings, and majority protest rules. In order to balance their budgets, special districts that provide water, like Bighorn Desert View Water Agency, rely mainly on fees and rate hikes which are charged directly to the property owners or tenants who receive those services. The agency is seeking to raise its rates and fees in 2026 and is taking the necessary steps to facilitate this process. On September 9th, during Public Workshop Number 3, the Bighorn Desert View Water Agency Board of Directors agreed to proceed with Option 2 of the rate study presented to them, which read 65%, 35%, with 0% annual revenue increase projection in year 1 and 4.4% thereafter. A special meeting for Public Workshop Number 4 was held on November 4th, so the Board of Directors could examine and discuss the water rate study packet they were presented with. General Manager Marina West reminded the board that prudent management of financial reserves was necessary in order to weather the occurrence of unexpected infrastructure failure from aging materials, earthquakes, and other unforeseen events. An additional public workshop will take place on Tuesday, November 18th for further discussion before proceeding to the formal public hearing concerning adoption of a new rate structure effective sometime in early 2026. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Annalise Kuiper.
And finally, on this week's Z107.7 Up Close show, Host Gary Daigneault will speak with the multifaceted Phil Bonafide. Phil will talk about rattlesnake aversion classes for dogs, rattlesnake removal, and relocation, and he also founded the Main Street Stampede Wild West reenactment shows and is an expert on desert gardening. Hear from one of the many fascinating people that make up our unique desert, Phil Bonafide, live tomorrow on Z107.7 and then as a podcast at Z107.7FM.com or wherever you get your podcasts. That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News. I'm News Director Jeff Harmatz.